Agenda as has been circulated. Councillor Abel, Councillor Thompson. Councillor Gardner, you can, we can.
Sorry, I left my glasses upstairs.
No, that's okay. No, you can, because we still have 4. Comments or questions on the agenda? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Declarations of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof, please. Seeing none. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to let Council and the public know tonight that our committee secretary has had to go home sick. So the presentations will be available on the screen, but the motions will not be. So if there's any clarification needed on the motions, please don't hesitate to ask.
And Council, if I may suggest, all we have tonight, we have delegations, and then there may be some just general public input. So I'm going to suggest that at the end of the delegations, we have one motion to receive all the delegates' comments, and refer them to staff. So we'll just do one omnibus motion. All right? Thank you. So our first delegate up this evening is Mr. Craig Mather, President of the Board of Directors of the Aurora Cultural Center. If you could give us your name and address, sir, and you have 5 minutes, and you'll get a warning sound at 4.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have a presentation, no. So, my name is Craig Mather. I live at 44 Hodgkinson Crescent in Aurora. I am the current president of the Aurora Cultural Center, and I had submitted correspondence with my request to be a delegate tonight, and I understand you have a copy of this letter in your package. There has been a great deal of discussion at our Board of Directors meetings about the town's grant to the center and whether we should be seeking additional funding, and if so, what would be the best time to make such a request and for what amount? Clearly, tonight would be an appropriate time to make such an ask, but we decided if and when we were to make such a request, we wanted to make sure we had developed a compelling and convincing argument based on data, supported by our strategic plan, and we're almost complete our next strategic plan. It's been sidelined a couple of times for various reasons, but we're getting closer to have that completed, and taking into account other town initiatives such as the Library Square redevelopment. On this basis, and as noted in our letter, we will not be making a special operating budget request at this time. I do hope over the next few months, with the help of our new executive director, and we're very pleased to announce that we have hired one, and she will be starting next Monday, and you will be getting a communication, I believe, on Friday with some background information on her. We're really quite excited about her starting. I am particularly excited because it seems I've been doing a lot of executive director work over the last few months. So I do hope over the next few months, with the help of our new executive director, our new strategic plan, and with board support, we will be appearing before you at the next year's special budget meeting with a more substantive proposal. My second and final point deals with the capital budget process. And I have to admit, we weren't sure whether this special meeting would deal with capital budget items, and I'm assuming that we can. And therefore, I'm asking for the town to work with us and to fund, through its capital budget, the design and construction of a sign that would be placed at the front of the center, which identifies and locates the center and the museum. We receive many comments that people don't know where the center is. People that walk by don't really know what's behind those red doors. And we have been talking for some time about the need for such a sign. And I can think of no other town facility that isn't recognized and identified clearly by a sign of some sort. A properly designed sign meeting the approval of the Ontario Heritage Foundation would make us easier to find and would identify to passersby what this beautiful building is all about. And it would also have the capability of identifying and promoting current and future events. We, as far as the sign is concerned, 2 years ago we had hired the architect that did the renovations for the Church Street School, and they designed a sign for us. We had hoped to, and we were essentially promised a $25,000 grant from the federal government, which in the end was not approved. And so the sign has been shelved for the last 2 years. At that time, the sign was estimated to cost around $40,000, I think would be a fair number. And so that was 2 years ago. So I'm assuming a ballpark figure for a sign of this nature, not being a sign expert, I'm not sure, but what would it be a reasonable cost for such a sign? But I'm assuming $50,000 would be the number. Thank you. That's my presentation, Mr. Mayor, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Council, any questions for Mr. Mather? If you could press your button, please. Councillor Thompson, Councillor Gardner.
Craig, thanks for coming this evening. Not much of a question, really. Just, I hope that even though we've changed the process a little bit and asked you to come sooner in the budgetary, consultation, that you'll still come forward and present the annual report and the metrics and statistics around the Aurora Cultural Center later on in the year. Great, thanks.
Councillor Gardner.
Thank you very much for coming. And we have been talking about this sign for a while around this council table. So I definitely think a sign for this beautiful building and what goes inside it is in order. Thank you for presenting.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other speakers? That would be it. Thank you very much, Craig. Appreciate you coming out. Our next delegate is Mr. Stephen Kimmer, President of the Board of Directors of Sport Aurora. Mr. Kimmer, your name and address, please, and you have 5 minutes, sir.
Can we do a presentation? I do. Okay. And thank you. It is that one. Thank you very much. Through you, Mr. Mayor, my name is Stephen Kimmer. I live at 48 Devons Drive. I'm the president of Sport Aurora. And on behalf of the Board of Sport Aurora and the 42 member organizations that we represent, I thank you for this opportunity to speak to you today. As I start, it's important that I point out to Council that Sport Aurora has become a respected sport. Which way am I going here? That way? Yeah. Thank you. A sports service organization in this community and has a long and successful history of service to the town, the residents, and in particular to the sport culture of Aurora. The mission of Sport Aurora is to promote participation in sport and recreation for all citizens of the community we serve. We come before Council this evening to propose that we be considered a valued partner with the municipality and that the responsible levels of funding are provided that will allow Sport Aurora not only to continue its work, but advance the objectives of this Aurora Sport Plan in successive years. This is our presentation plan for this evening, and the 3 areas we wish to cover: review the community values of Sport Aurora, present our strategic plan for Council consideration, and present our funding request. Sport Aurora represents amateur sport in Aurora, with 42 sports organizations and nearly 17,500 participants, numerous parents, and 3,500 volunteers and staff. We are big. We are completely inclusive, welcoming all sports and activity providers. We are the largest organization of any kind in Aurora and are representative near almost half of the population of Aurora. This is what we do and have done for many years. This was accomplished with the help of the Ontario Trillium Foundation grant. Since then, we have been on our own, with the town providing funds last year so we can continue to grow by helping deliver the objectives of the sport plan. Since April of 2017, we have been using our reserves to maintain our programs and services at reduced level. However, most of our expenses occur at the end of the year, as we do have a number of events in the last quarter. In 2016-17, we were tasked to deliver the objectives of the first year of the sport plan, and you have heard reports from Lori Mueller and Aaron Hamilton. We expect that on June 20th, Mr. Downey will come to Council with a positive report card on our work, and we hope he will recommend that we are the right organization to continue with the further aspects of the sports plan. We have followed the directives of the consultant who proposed the sport plan and town council who approved it, and have learned much in the process. Most important thing we've learned is that building policy and implementing new programs takes time and professional expertise. What we also know is that cooperation and integration is vital if we are to build a strong sports support system, and that is what Sport Aurora does well. We are prepared to move forward with the deliverables of the new year 2 of the sport plan. Our strategies are presented here, and they are board approved. We wish to work with the town as the Sports Council of record. We will propose, manage, administer programs that exist, and those that are approved of our future work. Promotion and celebration of sport continue to be a high priority with us, as well as our sports community, so programs can expand by building capacity and participation. We will continue to be revenue aware. That is, we will continue to offset costs in order to sustain the quality and the reach of our programs. Our budget for the next 2 years is presented here. You will notice our revenues and expenditures projections here show that on $421,000 of expenses, we bring in $326,000 of revenue ourselves, demonstrating significant revenue and sustainability activity of about 77%. The increase in operating expenses are due to us needing people to do things. We need professionals to manage these important programs so we can leverage the significant amount of volunteer time that makes us efficient. This is a big job and a big operation, and we feel that the partnership we are proposing that asks you for only 23% of our total cost is fair and reasonable for the amount of service the community receives.
Please wrap up, Mr. Kimmerer.
We ask for your support to support Sport Aurora as a true partner in the delivery of healthy sport and physical activity in Aurora.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. And there is an extensive package, Council, here for your information. Questions or comments from Mr. Kimmerer, please? Councillor Abel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I didn't get a chance to comment, but I stand the same sentiments to all that are gathered here. You are a vital part of our community. I don't know where we'd be without you. If the town had to deliver what you deliver, I don't know how much that would cost us. So you've done the heavy lifting. You have established the benefits, which the volunteers, all the things that you touch, make us healthier, better, more attractive for development. You know, the province should be celebrating because we're not using their hospital needs as much, and it just echoes all the way through our education system. We have brighter, more attentive children in school, so I can't say enough. And for me, it's an investment in social capital, is what I call it. It's often referred to. It's a part of our budget. I'm in full support of this process and you bringing this forward, so I am support of looking and bringing this forward as a total. So I want to thank you and everyone else that are coming here. I'll probably say it again.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other speakers, please? Thank you very much, Mr. Kimmerer. We do appreciate you coming out. Our next delegate is Mr. Bill Albino from the Aurora Historical Society. He's the president of the board of directors. Mr. Albino, if you could give us, for the record, give us your name and your address, please. Not too close to the microphone, okay?
Okay.
For some reason, that one works really well.
I don't want to deafen anyone. On behalf of the Aurora Historical Society, how am I doing? Am I popping or anything? Am I okay? Want to thank you for allowing us to delegate today. We're excited by the new process, a streamlined process. We hope we have interpreted it properly, and we hope we're doing things that will make your lives easier. And we wanted to give you a little bit of an assessment of how things are going for us this year because we're out of our normal cycle. So we always value the relationship we have with the town. We think it's an exceptional relationship. Your staff is remarkable. They are tremendously forthcoming with assistance, and we have a tremendous relationship with most of the councillors on this in this room today. So the relationship between the society and council is vital to us. We cherish it, and we try to do whatever we can to make it better. I'll give you a little update on the society. We just had one of our monthly board meetings last night. Our spending is bang on. Our revenue is likewise bang on. We budget them very carefully, and we watch them religiously. We make sure that we are financially responsible at all times, and I can say that things are in very good shape. We had not planned to come here to request any more money for the next fiscal year, but there has been one modification which I'd like to put on the table, and I'll get to that shortly. But back to what we're up to. We've had a tremendously successful start to the year. All of our metrics are up in terms of attendance and people coming through the door and people we've touched. We ran a very, very successful VIMI exhibition, which is just now wrapping up. We participated in a very successful VIMI program at with the Cultural Center in the library earlier. That was well attended and I think well appreciated by the people in the town. We had a great home show, and I hope many of you did get a chance to go by and look at the historic photo exhibition, which we participated in. Our people put a lot of energy into that, mostly working with Al Downey's staff and various people from the town. We put together, I think, something that was very illuminating about Aurora, and it certainly had a lot of people learning more about their town. So things are underway. We have one big project this year that's in limbo right now. We have a large exterior maintenance project to preserve and beautify the building, and we have a large impending grant which we've applied to Parks Canada for. And things often move a little slower than we'd like, and we really can't start until we hear from them. If we begin the project in advance of their hearing, it will suspend our application. So the application's been in for months now. We have not heard, but we got a letter this morning indicated we won't hear until summer. So we have a fairly extensive $55,000 exterior project, which is coming. So pretty soon you'll see some scaffolding and cherry pickers if all goes well, but we're continuing our effort to maintain the building as a heritage site for the people of Aurora for the long term. The Hillary House Ball is coming up, and I'd like to thank the town for already having bought a table. And there's a couple of interesting things that are going to happen this year, and I'm going to tell you 2 minutes about them. First of all, we had our first silent auction last year. It went very well, and we're going to expand it this year. The theme of the ball is the Centennial Ball. It's not the Sesquicentennial Ball, it is the Centennial Ball. And we thought we'd honor the Sesquicentennial in that fashion, so it will be themed as such. The live auction will contain two very interesting new things, which I'm going to pass around. First of all, there is a swatch that is put out by the Swatch Company, which commemorates Canada's 150th. If you could pass that around, Mr. Maracus, I would appreciate it. The more important thing, however, is that we were able to obtain a bottle of whiskey, and as you know, we've been holding Scotch tastings, but this bottle of whiskey is unique. I'm going to pass that around. Don't open it. But what it is, it was issued by Gooderman Worts in the centennial year. It's been in a private collection ever since. At the time of issue, it was 15 years old. So this was actually distilled in 1952, and you'll see it on the label that's attached. But this was a once-ever centennial edition release, and it's got a picture of the Fathers of Confederation on it, and it will be a part of the live auction, and I'll pass it around. Please don't open it, and please don't drop it.
You've almost hit your time, Bill.
Pardon?
You almost hit your time.
Okay, thank you. So anyway, things are well at the society, and I will wrap up by saying that we were seeking no more money until we got a notification about a week ago, 2 weeks ago now, that we have been asked to move our book collection from the armory. I gather you're going to be repurposing the armory and doing some interior work. We've had the Godfrey collection of books stored there for about the last 16 years. If we are required to move that, we will probably come back and ask for about $5,000 incremental for alternate storage. The Godfrey collection is a very, very important collection of medical books, which was assembled by Charles Godfrey, Member of Parliament. When we got it 16 years ago, it was valued at in excess of $125,000 at the time, and it's gone up since. It is our long-term plan to put it on exhibition, but we're needing space at Hillary House, which we're in the process of developing. If we can find, and you can help us find, alternate space within the town, we'd be happy to do it. Otherwise, we will request that our budget be augmented by storage of about $5,000 for that specific purpose. Everything else will remain the same.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Comments or questions from Mr. Albino? Councillor Thompson.
Bill, thanks very much for being here. I'm just curious why the collection's being stored at the Armory.
Storage, we're out of storage at Hillary House. We have had, we had a series of years when we had basement issues. We remediated that last year. We had a substantial basement remediation project. The basement's now high and dry, but the nature of the books is such that they need to be in appropriate storage, off the ground, a dry location, and in suitable cartons. So it's been there, long predates my arrival. It's always been there since we've had it. There was some of it that was at the library, which we have relocated to Hillary House, and we took up, frankly, the last corner of storage. We do know, as you do know, we have a plan to re-erect the McIntyre Coach House, which is currently disassembled on our property. We will likely use that for purpose of for storage and display of the Godfrey collection in part, but that's probably a year or two off, so we're probably going to be hung out to dry for about 24 months until such time as we can build our own facility for it. But it's a very important collection. We would supply the volunteer labor to move it if you can find a better site, but if that's not the case, we'll need to some help in finding suitable, dry, sprinklered, monitored storage.
Councillor Gardner.
If I may, I just
sorry, Councillor Johnson.
But I think we would both agree that it's not the optimal place to store that collection. I think we should try and find a more suitable location. Is that the goal?
I don't think it's ever been optimal, but it's been okay for 15 years. But if we can't be there, then we're going to have to go on a search. We've done some preliminary analysis in terms of the type of locations we need in Aurora, and the $5,000 number ties to the rental that would be associated with that. Optimally, it should be available to the public and on display, and that's our plan. But it's, again, 24 months out likely.
Councillor Gardner.
Thank you very much for coming and for all the work that you do. The books, are they valued and insured?
They were valued many years ago. Dr. Murray Koffler, who was one of our original benefactors, and Dr. Peter Van Nostrand were quite close with the Charles Godfrey. And he was a prolific collector of Canadian books, especially related to medical stuff. When I mean prolific, it occupies probably 50 bankers' boxes full of material. He was looking for a place to give it. Because of our association with medicine, he elected to give it to us, and we've had it ever since, and I'd say we need to do more with it. But now that our storage is being modified, we have an immediate issue. But it's a very important set of books.
Thank you, and it is a shame that it can't be at least on display. I don't know, depending upon how much it's worth. I'm not sure how much we want the public to be going through it, but it certainly should be on display.
It should be accessible to people who have an interest and are qualified to handle it. We agree with that.
Thank you, Councillor. No other questions or comments? Thank you very much, Bill. We appreciate it.
Thank you all very much.
You're going to take that with you, are you?
I'm going to take this with me, you know. I mean.
Well, if he opens it, you can assign the price. Thanks, everybody. Mr. Khan. Obviously, the way to Mr. Khan, the way to council's heart is through their stomach.
Mayor Dahl, members of council, staff, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. For you of those who don't know me, my name is Javed Khan. I'm a business owner in Aurora and the current chair of the Aurora Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. Thank you again for giving me the opportunity to present a delegation to you on behalf of the Aurora Chamber of Commerce. The Aurora Chamber of Commerce is a non-for-profit organization whose mission is to lead and serve the Aurora business community. Our goal is to build, drive, and positively influence Aurora's economic landscape. Our chamber represents 1,400 plus businesses, which includes over 600 members. We create opportunities for business owners and non-for-profit organizations to network, collaborate, promote, and enjoy savings and value through benefit programs and gain knowledge through dozens of event opportunities each year. Through the course of our fiscal year, from July 2016 to June of 2017, we've hosted a variety of opportunities ranging from breakfast meetings, business after 5, to our signature events such as the Aurora Chamber Home Show, not the Home Show, it's the Aurora Chamber Home Show, and the upcoming Aurora Chamber Street Festival and our upcoming annual golf tournament. We also host the annual Mayor's Luncheon, which always attracts a sold-out crowd, and in this year this year have had a few sessions to discuss advocacy issues with our local MPs and MPPs. Tonight, I'm excited to share opportunities that will showcase the collaborative relationship we've had with the town of Aurora. The Aurora Chamber of Commerce is requesting of Council to consider specific sponsorship funds in support of the following 4 events. This year was a special year for the Aurora Chamber of Commerce as we celebrated 30 years of the Aurora Chamber Home Show. The accomplishments of the Aurora Chamber of Commerce Home Show during 3 decades have been extraordinarily impressive, even outstanding. The success of the show is a result of amazing work from our dedicated volunteers and, of course, the dedication of our staff, Sandra Watson, Crystal Walsh, and Lori Butkus-Hill. We would like to propose a new strategy that we believe may increase attendance participation and therefore stronger opportunities for our vendors. Our ask: the facility rental fee be waived. The 2017 fee was $7,290 plus HST. The purpose of this request is to offset the cost of admission. In 2018, we would like to offer free admission to all attendees. We feel this would increase attendance to the show substantially by making it more accessible for Aurora residents and ultimately benefiting our vendors, many of which are Aurora-based businesses. This year's admission cost was $5. Children under 6 were free, and while that still is a low cost, we did find it prohibitive for some attendees this year. We want the annual Aurora Chamber of Commerce Home Show to be an all-exclusive event. Our key measurement of success would be the increase in visitors over previous years. By waiving the facility rental, the Chamber would be pleased to showcase the town of Aurora as a presenting sponsor of the annual event. Second, I'd like to discuss the Aurora Chamber Tech Expo. We will be entering into our 3rd year in 2018 and has been held appropriately during Small Business Week in October of each year. We are excited to be hosting the 2nd year of this event this upcoming October and sincerely appreciate the support from the town of Aurora. This event not only showcases the growing number of local technology providers and their services, but was also successful in connecting local business people with solutions they require to succeed in the current business climate. Our ask: $2,500 to help the Aurora Chamber of Commerce continue to build on the success of this October's event and grow it for 2018. Last year, I stood in front of you and requested funding for a new annual event called the Aurora Chamber Business Women's Summit. The objective of this event is to focus on the meeting the needs of women entrepreneurs, professionals, and business owners in Aurora. I'm pleased to report back that the progress of this event in October 2017 is moving along extremely well. Our ask: continued sponsorship of $2,500. The funds from the town of Aurora would continue to help to offset costs towards the summit in its 2nd year. The final request is to present a new initiative we believe will positively inspire, motivate, and encourage our youth to take command of their future and that of their community. The working name is the Youth Entrepreneur Summit. The concept is to create an event experience for youth centered on innovation and entrepreneurship. The experience may include interactive workshops, engaging speakers, and networking opportunities within our business community. We believe the combination of activities that help students to develop new skills while also energizing their entrepreneurial spirit, immersing them in community like-minded peers, and forging lifelong connections.
Could you wrap up, please, sir?
Yes, sir. Our ask: sponsorship of $2,500. As the town and the Aurora Chamber of Commerce share the common goal of a prosperous business community, the opportunity to continue our close collaboration is a natural choice. Thank you very much for your consideration of our budget proposal.
Thank you, Javed. Questions from Council, please. Councillor Gartner, Maracas, Thompson.
Thank you very much for coming and for your presentation. A couple of questions. With respect to the home show, the exhibitors would still be paying a fee? Did you have a sponsor for that last year?
We had a number of sponsors for that last year, including the town of Aurora.
And is there an entrance fee for that as well?
Aware of, Wendy, but I can certainly get back to you on that.
Same would be for the Aurora Chamber Business Women's Summit and for the Entrepreneur Summit. Are there entrance fees for that as well?
The Aurora Chamber Business Women's Summit, there is a fee that the committee is finalizing. I'm not at the position right now to confirm, but I definitely know there is a fee that they're finalizing, and they are seeking, if I'm not mistaken, or have sought some sponsors, which would include the town of Aurora.
The same for the Youth Summit?
At this point, we would ideally, and again, we're in a very, very minor stage, we would ideally like it to be free, especially for our youth. We certainly don't want it to be prohibitive, especially if we're trying to reach out to our youth in our community. So the idea then would be to have as many sponsors as we can to support the event. Don't know at this point, Councillor Gartner, if it's going to be a half a day, if it's going to be a couple of hours. The idea is we really think the big gap that we have as a chamber network is that, certainly in this community, is the opportunity to engage business, young-minded business individuals, and we've got more than enough in our community.
I think it's a great idea, but I also think sometimes when you have to pay a fee, even if it's small, it's good for buy-in. Thank you.
100%.
Councillor Marcus.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Javid, thank you for coming out tonight. I appreciate the presentation. I just had a quick question about the home show and looking at making it free for people to show up. Is the Chamber aware of any other home show within York Region or in the Greater Golden Horseshoe that does provide a free home show?
Not aware of that at this point. I do know the chamber networks that I have been involved in my business do have home shows that have admission costs tied to them. In some cases, the admission cost is certainly greater than $5, but I do not know, and I can certainly reach out to my chamber network colleagues to inquire if there is a home show that the chamber network hosts that is at no cost. I definitely know within the York region, no.
Thank you, and if you could get that information, we really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Javid, for being here. You certainly have lots going on in 2018, but I didn't see the Business Achievement Awards. So are you still planning to host that in 2018?
Very good question, Councillor Thompson. We as I scratch my head for effect, we don't know that answer. We don't know that answer. We don't know, should we be doing this every year or every other year? We will evaluate that once the Business Achievement Awards are completed in this year, which is November 16th of 2017. So we're still figuring that out, and I suggested to the committee that why don't we, it's been a while since we've done one, so why don't we evaluate, do a post-mortem, evaluate, and confirm if we're going to do it every year or every other year, and we'll certainly report back to council.
Thank you. Councillor Kim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I take off my glasses for effect, just going to rub it a little bit.
Supposed to use your tie to polish them.
Sorry. That was a great one. I just had to copy a great idea. I guess my first question would be, now I'm not sure if it was asked already, I was losing focus earlier for a second. The not charging for attendance for next year, if the attendance doesn't reach the desired objective, do you plan on going back to the pay-as-you-go in 2019?
Javid?
As I do this for effect, I think that's a question that we will need to answer as part of our post-mortem. The argument on the table right now amongst Sandra and the staff, and certainly the board, and she has put this forward as something that we've never thought of, but we did see a decrease. We did have people comment about, in some case, the fee, be it $5 or so. So we're going to take a look at this, and as I mentioned, our success rate is going to be, we have to put into place ways to measure the attendance Question is, if it doesn't meet our objectives, again, part of our postmortem has to be that question. So look, we tried it, didn't work. Now what do we do? Do we go back to $5 or do we, do we up the vendor fee? We don't know, but we're going to give it a go. It hasn't happened in York Region, so we'll see what happens. And again, Councillor Kim, is even if it's free and it's a gorgeous day or it's raining, that can be that can have an impact also. So we're going to give this thing a go.
Councillor?
Thank you. And when I think about any chamber of commerce, its constituents being revenue generators, entrepreneurs, and I liken it to other for-profit organizations, self-organizations like the building industry or NHL players associations, where they all draw revenue and they pay a premium to or fees to the association to promote their cause. And I'm just trying to wrap my head around the town sponsoring or lending financial resources to a profit-based organization. And although I support every single one of your ideas, and I think I do agree in principle in supporting our businesses in any way we can. But over the next several years, our expenditures are going to increase that much more, and we need to prioritize. So I guess my question is, are there other municipalities that financially support their chambers of commerce?
Mr. Khan?
I know of, right off the top of my head, 5 that have stronger, with no disrespect to this council, have very strong partnerships and collaborative relationships with their cities or towns. I know for a fact that's where we're heading in terms of our chamber network with the town. We're heading that way. It dropped off for a while, but I sense that that's going to be even stronger than ever and continues to be stronger than ever. And I certainly know there are cities that have a very strong financial support of the chamber network within their community. Now, keep in mind, though, Councillor Kim, our chamber network is very different in Aurora than it is even north of here. It's even very different in the city of Vaughan. I spoke with the CEO a couple of days ago about some of the comments I was going to make, and Brian made it clear that it's a different network down there. So remember, about 40% of our membership are one-person businesses. And whereas you look at Todd Letts, who's the CEO of Brampton Board of Trade, 40+% of his membership are international importer-exporters organizations, massive manufacturers. So his support within the city of Brampton is very different than it is if I look at my friend in Georgina or my friend who's in Alliston. So we have to look at the bigger picture of what's our community makeup. In our case, what's the makeup of our business community? In ours, it's not the same, as I mentioned, north of here. So we have to look at that. And the other thing is we are a non-for-profit organization, and we're trying to self-fund as we go along. The biggest challenge for any chamber network, and you'll hear this among the chamber networks, it's a constant piece of conversation, and that's our relevancy. Our memberships, membership-driven type of organizations, they're struggling, be it a chamber network or even a BNI or any of those membership-driven organizations. So a lot of it is going online. So we have to now look at other revenue opportunities, and I call this non-membership dues, non-membership revenue opportunities. I'm not comfortable going to the membership every time and saying, okay, Councillor Kim, I got to up your membership again because we got to fund this. Next thing you know, we got 40% who are self-employed. They're gonna look at their budgets and every year say, sorry, I can't afford this membership. There are chamber networks, by the way, who have, depending on your company makeup, they don't even look at your membership. They have a different conversation around sponsorships. So you can have 200 employees. They don't look at that as a membership. They look at you as, hey, why don't we look at a nice sponsorship package? So it all depends on the makeup, right?
Councillor?
Yes, thank you, Javid. I mean, I think I really appreciate you pointing that out because I think that's, the profile of Aurora Chamber of Commerce is certainly different from the makeup of other municipalities, and that's an important characteristic that everyone needs to know. And certainly, we all share the belief that we need to support our businesses, and indeed, a lot of the planning decisions and certainly the cultural precinct and any other plan that comes to public planning, we certainly make some of those decisions with the future of our entrepreneurs in mind as well. So thank you for responding to that and your presentation.
I see no other comments. So I will thank you, Javed, for coming out. We do appreciate your input. Our next delegate is Irene Clement, Chair of the Board of Directors of the Aurora Community Arboretum. Irene, if you could introduce yourself and give us your address, please, and you have 5 minutes. And there is the elevator chime at 1 minute left.
Yeah, I'll just say a couple of words. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, councillors. My name is Irene Clement. I'm the chair of the Aurora Community Arboretum. I live at 51 Hillside Drive. The Arboretum and the town of Aurora is coming to the end of its current 10-year partnership agreement this year, and we're asking for approval of our new 10-year partnership plan and its associated funding. But before we go and look at the new plan, I want to just spend a few minutes on what we've achieved in the first 10-year plan.
There's lots of events here in the Arboretum. You can just take a nice walk. You can ride your bicycle through here. You can do some bird watching. There's some wildlife here. We've got the leash-free dog park that's just up the way here. Lots of opportunities for you to come out, take advantage of the town of Aurora. Just come out and enjoy yourself.
Okay, you've had a glimpse of what we've achieved together. I think it's been successful, and I hope you think so too. So let's look a little bit at what we're planning to do for the next 10-year partnership. We have a master plan, an updated master plan that was done by David Tomlinson, who did our first master plan. The details are in your package, so I'm not going to go through them. This is the north plan, the north area. This is the highlights of what we're going to be doing up in that area. As you can see, there's a number of things we'll be maintaining, but there's a number of features that we want to, key features that we want to further develop. Oops, where'd it go? Okay, there we go. Okay, this is the middle section of the plan. This is, most of our effort and development was done in this area. This is the Specimen and Flora Aurora area. And so when you look at the highlights of it, you'll see that in the planned activities. You can see there's a lot of maintenance and ongoing activities. But there's a couple of key things we want to further develop, and that's increasing the number of specimen trees and upgrading some of the trails in this area to improve accessibility. The last section of the Arboretum is what we call the South. This area has had the least amount of development in our first 10-year plan. And when you look at some of the highlights of what we're going to do there, one of the reasons is we've got quite an extensive invasion of buckthorn and phragmites in this area. So we have to deal with those first before we can look at planting a Carolinian forest and other development in that area. So I want to thank you for your past support and ask for your continued support. By accepting the updated master plan and by granting the associated funding for its execution over 10 years. We're asking for $960,000 over 10 years, or about $96,000 per year. I think the cooperation of the town, specifically the Parks Department, and with the Conservation Authority and the Arboretum, we've been able to establish and develop a very unique feature in the town, a natural area within the heart of within the heart of Aurora for the enjoyment of all of the citizens and visitors to the town. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments or questions for Ms. Clement, please? Councillor Gartner.
Thank you very much for coming. It's just incredible, the amount of work that the volunteers have done. So thank you very much. And just a comment, I see the carving of the Baroque is continuing and looking pretty amazing.
Councillor Kim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Clement, for coming out tonight. I think there's no doubt that the Aurora Community Arboretum is a very integral part of the core of Aurora, and it offers us a green reprieve in our community. You spoke about Phragmites, and I recall Mr. Barry Birchford talked about Phragmites and other invasive species, and you said that they had to be dealt with prior to you planting another species. Do you have the resources to battle that situation, or will this cover some of that initiative?
Ms. Clement?
There are some funds in the budget for doing that, and we did tackle a major area, the area behind Tim Hortons, this last couple of years. We are going to try a different approach. Barry is actually part of a committee now looking at an invasive species within the Arboretum, and he will be helping us with Phragmites in particular. So we have a couple of ideas on how to do that. I think the area we've already gotten under control was the largest in that southern part of the Arboretum. The part adjacent to it, if you like, sort of across the stream, won't be necessarily as difficult, and we will be trying a couple of different means there. So we do have some funds to do it. There are things that we're looking at doing ourselves. So it's going to be a mix of maybe some external help and also just internal.
Councillor?
Thank you.
Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Irene, for being here tonight. Similar to my comment earlier, I just hope that closer to the end of the year that you'll come back and give an annual report on what you accomplished this year. And we always like to see how many volunteer hours went into all the work that's done by your group. So just hope that we'll see you again towards the end of the year.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Any other comments? I just one comment. First of all, thank you very much for coming, Irene, and thanks to everyone who comes out. We do appreciate it. But you may recall last term there was some confusion as to whether or not we actually gave the Arboretum group money, and we don't. We allocate money within the budget to the Parks Department, who work in conjunction with the Arboretum. So the Arboretum, in effect, acts as a consultant. So I think it's pretty important to make sure that that's very clear. And that's what you're proposing to continue.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes, I should have said that we don't get any money directly, and I was kind of wondering what, about the mechanism of what you're doing this year, but it's a part of the capital under Parks. We don't spend it without the approval of Parks or without you guys approving the annual budget anyway, so it doesn't come directly to the Arboretum. It's done in conjunction with the Parks Department, and they have been a very good partner in the development that we've done over the last, actually 20 years, but 10 years of town funding, so that'll continue.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Irene. Our next delegate is Mr. Ron Weiss, the chair of the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. Mr. Weiss, if you'd introduce yourself and give us your address, please.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, and staff, guests. My name is Ron Weiss. I live at 37 Larmont Street. I'm here on behalf of the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. I represent the Board of Governors here tonight and asking for your consideration with respect to funding in 2018. One's all messed up. At the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame, we're now entering our 5th year of operation. Organization has been partially funded throughout this entire journey. By all accounts, the Sport Hall of Fame has become an important part of our community. We built a valuable asset, we believe, for both sport and culture. With pride, we're thankful for the moral and the financial support we've received from all parts of the community, including the town, and we take very seriously our promise to become sustainable through strategic partnerships. We believe the town is the best and most sensible partnership opportunity for us. You see many of the community benefits listed here, but let me point out that we consider each one of them to become our mission. We're committed to delivering the historical celebration of sport, as well as presenting our rich sport heritage that continues to be a source of pride for our whole community. Of import is the work that we do with children in the community through our Sport History Alive presentations, and I know that many of you have been out to those presentations and are thusly inspired as well. Our education outreach program inspires children to participate in sport and physical activity along with Sport Aurora and Activate Aurora. Our annual induction dinner has been sold out for all 4 years and has become the premier sports celebration event in town. It proves the importance and the value of our work. As requested, we presented here our 3-year operating budget forecast. Actually, there's an extra year tacked on there. It shows responsible fiscal management by controlling costs while maximizing revenue opportunities. You'll notice that our projected shortfall in 2018 is estimated at $51,500, which represents approximately 40% of our overall expenses, meaning, of course, that we provide the majority of our funds in order to remain sustainable. We have added for your consideration an additional estimated $26,500 as a capital cost, as we would like to help bring additional renovations to the SARC in 2018. These additional funds are designed to augment the successes that we've achieved at the SARC by improving the customer experience there. We've begun visitor surveys already now to determine what specifically is needed for those customers. You'll also notice that we have projected our operating deficit for subsequent years, showing modest increases in both revenues and expenses. We believe, however, that additional gains are possible with the revenue side of the equation. Our future is optimistic. We will maintain the high service standards in all areas that were previously described and are committed to remaining a volunteer-driven, professionally managed organization that will continue to collaborate with the town and grow the ASHOF. Our goals include the town as a partner as we attract new sponsors and rely less each year on town partner funding. We know we can be the best municipal sports hall of fame in the country, if we aren't already. It's clear from our research that every Sport Hall of Fame is subsidized in whole or in part by the municipality in which it resides. In the case of Aurora, the town-approved sport plan even includes the need for a Sports Hall of Fame to be sustained. Our reason for being before you tonight is certainly to have you consider us for funding in the 2018 budget, but also to consider us a partner in the delivery of the town's strategic plan by entering into a mutually beneficial service agreement as our funding partner. In summary, I want to acknowledge this council's demonstration of support for culture, and in this case, sport culture, through your previous financial contribution to the Sport Hall of Fame. Your investment is important to this community, and we thank you for it. And I finally and enthusiastically ask for your engagement moving forward. Yes, it's money, but we're doing something valuable here, something unique and impactful together that will leave a legacy in this community by growing the existing and future investments we've both made. That's a priority for us all. We have an optimistic future and an opportunity now to build the asset together, and we know we have the right partner in the town of Aurora. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Well done. Council, comments or questions, please? Seeing none, thank you very much for coming out.
Okay,
appreciate it. And our last delegate is Mr. Bob Lepp. If you could introduce yourself, Mr. Lepp, give us your address, and you have 5 minutes, sir.
I was going to claim that I'd have the largest non-tax revenue idea, but I guess it's going to be the only one. I responded to Mayor Dawes' banner article. My name's Bob Lepp. I live at 227 Orchard Heights in Aurora. I'm the one that someone gave you all permission not to reply to in any of my emails, and you've been very consistent in not doing that. I doubt anyone's got a larger source of non-tax revenue than I have tonight. Just today I was relegated to snail mail only for my Freedom of Information request, trying to get information on this and other issues. Your town doesn't want to hear what I found out, but all I do is repeat facts from your website. Last summer I started thinking that the Parks Department spent nothing on Canine Commons because his old bylaws buddies were out there fleecing masses of Aurorans by charging them with off-leash, no tags, and no stoop and scoop $305 fines. The surprising news is he was not. Bylaws does not publish the number of pets or fines, so they cannot be criticized for selling only 15% of 12,000 pet tags in this town. Sports, before me, claimed 50% of the town. I claim 66% of the town is pet-owning families. I said 15%, it's more likely 10%. 15% sales success is the number to believe and is based on 2016 net income. Ask bylaws for an accounting, as Doug Nadarozny has no such analysis to share, but he did give me the $37,000 total figure for 2016. If it was a different number, he would have published it months ago to shut me up. Last time I was before you, Helen Clark followed me and opened with, I don't know where he gets his facts from. So let me state clearly again, everything I quote is from your own documents on aurora.ca. I am not making up any numbers. Every document is referred to, it's on aurora.ca. Everything is there except how to count the number of dogs in town, because that's never been done in Aurora. That's a nationwide average of 1 house in 3 having a dog, a second house in 3 having a cat, and 1 house in 3 is without a pet. 2/3 of voters next year own pets. So to increase non-tax revenues, you have to collect the missing $200,000 a year you lose every year to the 85% of pets in town who do not have a pet tag on their neck as required by the bylaws. You have to force staff to invoke the bylaw measures for a 100% door-to-door canvass. There's provisions for that in the bylaw. You can charge the owner. Right now it's set at $20, but that's ridiculous. It's from 20, 30 years ago. It should be $100 for not buying tags by February 15th each year. I would collect 100% of the dog tags, and I volunteered to do this for the town at $20 a tag. Everyone will come out to get $100 per tag. You council authorized $54.50 per dog to go to Tesha in the OSPCA to control animals in 2017. That's bad enough, but on the last day of budget, you threw in another $45,000 for the OSPCA, bringing the total to $62 per dog for animal control in this town. In total, according to Mr. Natarozny in writing me, you collected $37,000 total for pet tags plus pet offenses at $305 a pop. You collected $6 per dog on dog tags and fines, and you spent $62 on dogs for animal control. And as you all know, dogs are not out of control in Aurora. The OSPCA sits in a truck and drives around and slaps people on the wrist and doesn't issue tickets when he sees them off leash. I would tell you how much per dead dog you gave to the pet cemetery, but they don't publish a count either. But April 11th last year, the Heritage Committee hosted a visit to the pet cemetery. No one did the same for Canine Commons. Any resident knowing that you take 62 tax dollars to catch and return stray dogs, yet sell only $6 each for a tag, would go ballistic. So bylaws never tells you the totals for pets living in town or the number of tags sold. Ignorance is bliss in this case. Your staff bought a third-party outsourcer, DocuPet, without any discussion in council, based on their website claim, and I swear this is true. They claim theirs is holistic software and it will increase tag sales. Well, it doesn't. It didn't. If it was, every councillor would have tweeted it already. But he and Trump are both silent on the entire topic. So if you want to take in $1 million in non-tax revenue in the next 5 years, between now and 2022, the next period of council coming in, all you have to do is once 100% door-to-door canvass, supplying many charity people with a great fundraiser at $100 per tag sold. Then with all those 6,000 dogs and 6,000 cats in DocuPet, you just send out renewal notices. And failure to renew, you add the tags to their tax bill and require them to prove their pets died. It's simple, so simple I know you will not do it, and you will disparage me for pointing it out. Oh, perfection.
Well done, Mr. Lepp. Thank you. Oh, don't go away. We have some questions for you.
There's never any questions, Mr. Mayor. I send them this information every day and they ignore it. So if they don't want $1 million in 5 years, they're not going to ask me a question tonight.
Thank you, sir.
With all respect.
That finishes the delegates that we have listed. We open it up to any members of the public who did not delegate but might have something they like to suggest to us. Seeing none, Council, if I may then please have a motion to receive and refer the comments of all the delegates to staff for consideration in the 2018 budget deliberations. I've got Councillor Thompson, Councillor Puri. Comments or questions? All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor Puri, pardon me.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got Mr. Khan's presentation in mind. For the delegates who've asked for separate funding to go in separate locations, are we going to get a report back with their total amount, or is that going to be broken down the way that that the delegates have broken it down?
Mr. Natarozny, please. What will be the process?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we'll come back with a summary report of all of the input we received tonight with some staff recommendations on how to move forward to budget process.
Councillor Thompson.
I think Mr. Natarozny just answered my question. I was just wondering whether or not any of this would come to the FAC committee or whether it would just come straight to a future budget meeting, but I think he'll detail that in whatever future report staff come back with.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments or questions? All in favor then? Opposed? That is carried. May I please have a motion to adjourn? Not a council meeting. There is no confirming bylaw. Councillor Puri, Councillor Kim? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Thank you. Hope everybody enjoys the weekend.